Hello, my name is Dara, and today New Hampshire Scholars Club is speaking to Sargent Clark, who is a recruiter in the Air National Guard. So Sergeant Clark, can you describe your job like what you do?
Sure, absolutely. So I started in the Air National Guard as what we call as a traditional member, which is 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year. And I started in that position as security forces, which is military police. And about a year and a half ago, I was hired as a full-time member in the New Hampshire Air National Guard as a recruiter. So my job is to be the face, be the representation, and be an outreach community leader for our state and for our wing, which is at the 157th in Pease Air National Guard Base.
Okay. So why did it interest you originally?
The Air Force as a whole interested me originally because I always wanted to serve. I always wanted to be a member of the military, and I felt, me personally, that the Air Force was the best fit for me. I still get to be a part of the best team, I believe, because the 157th is the best of both worlds, where I get to be here in the state of New Hampshire, and I still get to wear my uniform every single day proudly and serve my country.
So can you describe your daily routine, like your hours worked, your weekday kind of?
Well, recruiting is literally, it's a 24-hour job. Your job in the military always, when you raise your right hand, you're always promising to uphold the Constitution of the United States, and that's a 24-hour job. But in a traditional sense, right, I'm not doing it 24 hours. In a traditional sense, my day usually starts about 6:30, 7 o'clock. I come into the office, I do a little physical training, answer some phone calls, answer some emails, and then I get to go out and do some really fun visits. I get to visit with people. I go to community events. I go to national events, anything from a traditional school visit, coming to speak to students, to anything that, like an air show, or being a representation at the Manchester Latino Festival. So there's a whole spectrum of things that you really kind of get to do in conjunction with this. It's not just talking one-on-one with people, it's the whole community.
And do you have any future career plans, kind of like advancements that are available in the field that you work in?
Absolutely, without a doubt. That's kind of why we're all designated the way that we are, right? Everyone, we have stripes on our arms, right? And that's really a really kind of neat thing, that you're always measured by your own progression, right? And so you can always move up in the rank structures, right? You ever heard that terminology, moving up in the ranks, right? That's where that comes from. It's clearly from the military and being able to move up in the ranks. And so of course I have goals. I always say to my younger airmen and my junior NCOs, if you're not performing at a skill level higher than what's expected of you, then you're not doing it correctly. You should always be striving to do your best and always being the best airman that you possibly can be.
So what was your kind of like education or training that you kind of needed for this occupation?
Well, my original occupation in security forces, what we did, and security forces, I'll kind of break it down a little bit for you. It's primarily there's a very small percentage of females that do security forces in the Air Force. Technically, even on our installation, we only have, I believe, 7 certified security forces females in the entire state. So, which is a pretty big deal, right? So that training is that you go down to basic training. All military members, all members of the Air Force, go to basic training in San Antonio, Texas for 8.5 weeks. And then you move on to what we call as tech school. And that's what I did. I went to a tech school, and it was 14 weeks down again at San Antonio, Texas. And it's a police academy. Essentially, that's what it is. It's just a military version of a police academy. Just like across the street, right? There's the Police Academy of Standards and Training right here in Concord. Same exact thing, same exact kind of idea, where you're going to learn, you're going to learn about the law. You're going to learn about what it's like to be a police officer, how to interact and communicate, de-escalate with things, the use of deadly force, even kind of cool things of how to fire certain weapons, how to throw grenades. That's always fun, right? Get to blow things up. So there's all kinds of things like that. We even do things where we call it shoot, move, and communicate, where you work as a group and as a team. And so, when you see like SWAT, right, on TV, and they're coming in, they're clearing up the buildings, we get to do that sort of thing, so, which is kind of neat. So that was my training for that. And then for recruiting, you go to another school. There's always schools in the military. It never stops. Again, that goes back to us setting ourselves up for success and always wanting to be the best version that we can be. You're always going to be in a school. If you're not in a school, you're doing something wrong.
Were there any bumps along the way?
Always bumps. There's always a bump, right? You plan for one thing, and then something else. Yeah, it never happens. So there's always a bump. So I joined and I was active duty for some time. I got out of active duty because I never lived anywhere longer than 6 months, and it was really good. It was a wonderful experience. I love it. I'm very grateful for it. But I'm a homebody, and I love New Hampshire, and I love my family. So I really wanted to be here and be with my family and have that. And I ended up joining military. I ended up being a corrections officer, and I was doing that for a while. And then I really felt that there was something more that I needed to do, and I felt that I still had some fight in me to be a part of the military. And that's when I started looking into the New Hampshire Air Guard. And I never lived my life with regrets, but I do wish that I joined a little bit sooner because this was a great decision for me. I love it.
Right. Do you have any specific skills that kind of make this career a good choice for you?
I like to talk a lot. I do like to talk a lot, and I'm not shy to talk to anybody, and I'm not shy to tell anyone, my story and how I feel that I'm very passionate about who we are and what we do, and I get very excited about it because I find it to be an exciting job, an exciting career field, and I love my state and I love my country, so it's just the best of both worlds. So, yeah.
That's great. We kind of already covered that part too. So would there also be any opportunities for students to kind of work like job shadow or part-time work?
Mm-hmm. So, ironically, we are part-time. We are 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year, and a lot of people don't know this. You could actually join the New Hampshire Air National Guard your junior summer year of coming into it. So it's not like the movies where they say you raise your right hand and all of a sudden you're being shipped off in a bus somewhere and you never see your family again. That's not what we do. We belong to the state of New Hampshire first and foremost. We protect we're defending our state first and foremost, and then we have an additional federal mission. But so you can do it part-time. Our students can join. We'll get a paycheck and be a member of an incredibly elite group.
Is there any other information that you'd like to add to everyone who's watching?
Mm-hmm. So any information that you request or want about the New Hampshire Air National Guard, you can go on to that's 3 W's, right? .ang.com. GoANG.com. GoANG.com as an Air National Guard. And you can find out any information there. And if you want any information from me, my telephone number is 603-828-6765. And I'm always willing to answer any questions, talk to anybody about anything about the Air National Guard.
Oh, that was great. So thank you, Sargent Clark, for speaking to the New Hampshire Scholars Club and to our audience. To everyone watching, we also have other videos up about all different careers, so feel free to check them out on our YouTube channel.